Tyson Pedro, he turned and said you might die tomorrow. UFC light heavyweight Tyson Pedro is writing a weekly column for Sporting News in the lead-up to his fight with Ovince St. Ux at UFC Fight Night 132 in Singapore on June 23 this weekend. Read the moving story of his tattoos here. Check out the crazy stories of when he was training at Donald Cowboy Cerrone's ranch here. And check out this one where Tyson talks about his good mate Tuivasa. While you're here, you could read Tuivasa's exclusive column about why he quit footy for fighting. I guess you could say I had a pretty weird childhood compared to most other kids. Dad was always heavily involved in martial arts and was pretty tough on me. It's going to sound strange, but I wouldn't have it any other way now. He made me what I am today. There was this one time we were going to a karate grading, and it was going to be a week-long grading to get my purple belt. Dad was taking it. On our way to it, he turned to me and said you might die tomorrow, and I almost had a panic attack. I remember going to Mum in a panic, because I knew the gradings before it weren't that bad, and he didn't warn me. So for him to warn me, I was freaking out. I ended up going, and I had to stand in horse stance, which is like a deep squat, on the beach for 30 minutes. Dad would walk past with a stick and say arms out and I'd get whacked. He'd walk past all the other kids and just tap them lightly, but he'd go whack on me. Nothing on the others. I mean, you can't bash someone else's kids. Everyone else would say he was going too hard on me, but I am where I am today because of it. At the time I kind of thought he hated me, but it's not until you realize that I am what I am because of everything my parents have done. Mom's a teacher and was really big into schooling, and they both gave me all the opportunities I wanted as a kid. I played piano, I played clarinet, I played tennis, I played soccer, volleyball. I was given every opportunity, but I always chose to go back to fighting. Sometimes you just know, I guess. Mom was always teaching me something, every second, but I was a little dick at school. I wasn't a bad kid, but I was a smartass to everyone. I just joke around with everyone, but I didn't realize you couldn't do that to a teacher. I honestly thought I was an adult at an early age, because I've just been around adults my whole life. I was in my teens when my parents split up and Dad moved to America. For a year, when I was about 16, I was pretty much on my own, moving between friends' houses. I was catching trains around Sydney to go to training and skipping too many classes. I didn't need anyone to tell me to train, and I'm still the same today. I don't need a training partner. This morning I did my strength and conditioning by myself, and I think that's where my drive comes from, just always doing it by myself. At one point, I was living with my mate for about 4 months and we were working at this nightclub as janitors. We weren't very good. We'd come in at about 2 or 3 in the morning when it closed and we'd just try and clean it up. We'd clean up too, because the pay was way too much for a couple of 16-year-olds and people would always leave coins, notes and phones in there. We didn't last too long. I think they realized they were paying us too much. You needed to be a professional cleaner to work in that place. They had this big machine with hoses and stuff and we had no idea how to use it. We'd work there until about 7 a.m. then I'd go to another job at Theo's Cafe for another couple of hours. I'd often start drifting off to sleep at the cafe. Theo was one of my dad's best friends and he owned the cafe. He passed away and that's who I dedicated my fight in Vegas against Paul Craig to. That was my first job. So, even though I say my dad was tough on me at times, there was always a reason behind it. He was really ahead of the game in a lot of areas, especially the mental aspect of fighting. When we'd walk into the gym, he'd tell everyone to close their eyes and focus. He'd say when you walk through this door, this is our holy space. There are no bills to pay, you don't have a problem with your family, everything is clear. This was way back in the day, and it was what you'd call mindfulness now. Being in the present, before that was a big thing. I was doing that as a kid, and I'm still doing it now. That's why I'm so comfortable fighting now. When I was an amateur, everyone else would be walking around pumped up, and I could lie down and go to sleep. It's still happening now. So yeah, it was a weird upbringing. Sometimes I think he was trying to bring us up as assassins. I probably don't tell him enough, but he knows exactly what he created. My mom as well. Between them both, I think they raised a pretty good person, but I'm always trying to be a better person. There's no point being anything in this world if you're not a good person. That's all life is.